So if you read Who Am I again, you'll see that he creates, at the beginning, Raman outlines a kind of conceptual framework. And the teachings operate within this conceptual framework. And you have to take on this conceptual framework for the teachings to work. The framework goes like this. What you are is pure consciousness. That, and he defines that. He says, what, at the very beginning, first couple of questions, or first couple of paragraphs, depending which version of Who Am I you're reading. There are two main versions. One is a question and answer version, and one is an essay version, where when the questions have been removed and you've just got the answers strung together as an essay. The same teachings are in both versions, but slightly different orders. But in the first couple of paragraphs and the first couple of questions, Ramana says, you are pure consciousness. Your nature is Sat, Chit, Ananda, beingness, consciousness, bliss. Your nature is happiness. When you remove the body, mind, and world, what remains is yourself. And then there's in the question answer version, someone says, do we have to remove the body, mind, world? He says, yes, you have to. And he explains why, given the analogy of the rope and the snake. And then he gives you conceptual framework. So the first thing he said is that you are the self with a pure consciousness. And then he gives you conceptual framework, which is from this pure consciousness, which is pure, which has no name, no forms, no objects, no arising phenomena in it. From this arises a first vibration, okay, which he calls the first thought. And that is the I thought. It's the thought, I am the body mind. Yeah, I am a separate, or you could say it's the thought, I am a separate entity. This rises up from this lake of pure consciousness, which is undifferentiated, still pure, unmoving. The first movement arises. This is the ego. The I am limited entity arises. I am something separate. It rises up. And from this, the entire world is projected. And the world means the body, the mind, and the world is created. He says the root of this entire creation is this one movement. We can call it the I thought. We can also call it ignorance. We can also call it Maya. We can call it the original sin, if we want to use Christian language. So when he says, look for the source of the I thought, he's talking about what was there before the I thought. Now, if you follow that conceptual model he's outlined to you in Who Am I, what is before the I thought is the pure consciousness. So he's asking you just to remain as pure consciousness before the I thought arose. So whenever Ramana says the source of the I thought, from where did the I arise? Whence am I? The different ways he phrased the question in self-inquiry. The most common question is, who am I? Which is the name of the text, who am I? That's why he called it, who am I? It means, what are you? You're the self. He answers what you are in the first couple of paragraphs. You're the self, the pure consciousness. Okay, discover that. Go in, discover that. Be still. Remove name, form. Remove body, mind, world. Discover your true nature as pure consciousness. The self discovers itself. The mind doesn't discover this. Sometimes he says, go back to where you came from. Yeah? And I sometimes joke that this is not like a racist slogan, go back to where you came from. He's using the analogy of you came from this pure consciousness. You emerged from this pure consciousness. So go back the way you came. And you can actually, when you go inwards, you can reverse the process of. It's kind of like waking up in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, you first wake up, and then the I thought arises, and then the world arises. You can reverse that process. That's what self-inquiry is. It's a reversal of the creation of the body, mind, and world. And it's like a withdrawing into the self. In Who Am I? Ramana even gives us a metaphor of this. He says it's like the spider that emits a web and then withdraws it back into itself. Do you see the analogy? The spider in this represents the self, the source. And from that, ignorance and the creation arises. And then self-inquiry is withdrawing it back and abiding as the self again. So if you reread the first page or two of Who Am I carefully, you will see this teaching is there, fully in front of you. But I missed it when I first read it. I missed it several times. It took me a good while to realize, oh, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about our everyday experience in such a different way to how we commonly think of it. It's so radical. It's all there in front of you in that text. For those of you who don't know, Who Am I is a very short text. It's only a few pages long. And it contains pretty much everything you need in terms of self-realization teachings. But it's so densely packed in, there's a bit of a language barrier as well, perhaps. That the mind easily misses these teachings. So I recommend you read The Path of Sri Ramana Part 1. This is explained. So when it says the source, or from where did the I come from, it's talking about pure consciousness, always talking about pure consciousness. Some people say, oh, it comes from like here in my chest, or is it here in my head? That's not what he's talking about. The here in the heart, the here in the head, all these bodily areas, they come from the mind in Ramana's conceptual framework, which you have to adopt for self-inquiry to work. So you won't believe it fully until realization, but try and just take it on. Try and adopt that framework for your life, for your practice, and use it. Try it as an experiment. Say, okay, I'm going to think like Ramana advises me to think, and let's see where it gets me. And that's the way he's advising you to think, to adopt this conceptual framework. That this entire world around us is actually like a dream. It's a manifestation in consciousness that's created by this ignorance. And the ignorance is the source. It's the primal thought. It's that first vibration. It's like the first movement after the Big Bang. He's saying that the Big Bang is occurring within us. The universal creation occurs from us. So we are truly the creator. Not Krish is the creator, not Tom is the creator, no. Krish and Tom are part of the creation. We are part of Maya. But what we really are, which is beyond the body, mind, and world, is the creator, is God. And that is what we are, literally.